So yeah, like I said, I'm going to be breaking down the video of the audiobook of Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil, The Secrets of the Universe. All right? So let's go ahead and get right into it. That way we can learn a little bit more about how our mind works and what's holding us back.
In his study of the law. If he had, he would have discovered that the same law which holds your earth in position and helps nature maintain a perfect balance over the four dimensions, in which all matter and energy are contained, is the web in which I entangle and control the minds of human beings.
Tell me more of this astounding law of hypnotic rhythm.
As I have already stated, there is a universal form of energy with which nature keeps a perfect balance between all matter and energy. She makes specialized use of this universal building material by breaking it up into different...
If you're in the chat, leave a comment down below.
As I have already stated, there is a universal form of energy with which nature keeps a perfect balance between all matter and energy. She makes specialized use of this universal building material by breaking it up into different... She makes specialized use of this universal building material by breaking it up...
Okay, cool. I can hear myself.
Wavelengths. The breaking up process is carried on through habit. You will better understand what I am trying to convey if I compare it with the method by which one learns to play music. At first, the notes are memorized in the mind. Then they are related to one another through melody and rhythm. By repetition, the melody and rhythm become fixed in the mind. Observe how relentlessly the musician must repeat a tune before he masters it. Through repetition, the musical notes blend, and then you have music. Any impulse of thought that the mind repeats over and over through habit forms an organized rhythm. Undesirable habits can be broken. They must be broken before they assume the proportions of rhythm. Are you following me?
Yes.
Well, to continue. Rhythm is the last stage of habit. Any thought or physical movement which is repeated over and over through the principle of habit finally reaches the proportion of rhythm. Then the habit cannot be broken, because nature takes it over and makes it permanent. It is something like a whirlpool in water. An object may keep floating indefinitely unless it is caught in a whirlpool. Then it is carried round and round, but it cannot escape. The energy with which people think may be compared with water in a river.
So this is the way in which you take control of the minds of people, is it?
Yes. All I have to do to gain control over any mind is to induce its owner to drift.
Am I to understand that the habit of drifting is the major danger through which people lose their prerogative or privilege of thinking their own thoughts and shaping their own earthly destinations?
That and much more. Drifting is also the habit through which I take over their souls after they give up their physical bodies.
Then the only way a human being can be saved from eternal annihilation is by maintaining control over his own mind while he is on this earth. Is that true?
You have stated the truth perfectly. Those who control and use their minds escape my web. I get all the others as naturally as the sun sets in the west.
Is that all there is to the business of being saved from eternal annihilation? Doesn't what you call your opposition have anything to do with saving people?
I can see that you do think very deeply. My opposition, the power you earthbound call God, has everything to do with the salvation of people from eternal annihilation, and for that reason it is my opposition who provides every human being with the privilege of using his own mind. If you use that power by maintaining control over your own mind, you become a part of it when you give up your physical body. If you neglect to use it, then I have the privilege of taking advantage of the neglect through the law of hypnotic rhythm.
How much of a person do you take over when you gain control of him?
Everything that is left after he ceases to control and use his own mind.
In other words, when you gain control of a person, you take over all there is of his individuality up to the time that he quits using his own mind. Is that correct?
That is how I operate.
What do you do with people whom you control before death? Of what good are they to you while they live?
I use them, or what is left of them after I take charge, as propagandists to help me prepare the minds of others to drift.
Yep, that's what it is nowadays. Nowadays in schools, sometimes even in churches, everywhere. You see it everywhere. The news, it's just propaganda trying to make you, like Napoleon Hill says, into a drifter. It's crazy, but that's the world we're heading into now.
You not only fool people into destroying their power to control their own minds, but you use them to help you trap others?
Yes, I let no opportunity get away from me.
Let us come back to the subject of hypnotic rhythm. Tell me more of how this law works. Show me how you use individuals to help you gain control over others. I want to know something of the most effective way you use hypnotic rhythm.
Oh, that is easy. The thing I like best is to fill the minds of people with fear. Once I fill one's mind with fear, I have little trouble causing him to drift until I have entangled him in the web of hypnotic rhythm.
What human fear best serves your purpose?
The fear of death.
Why is the fear of death your favorite weapon?
Listen, when it comes to fear, if you're afraid of something, let me tell you this, the fear is not going to go away. So I'm not going to tell you get rid of fear completely. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, get rid of your fears. Get rid of all your fears. Your fears, if you're afraid of something, that's called false evidence appearing real, meaning you have to show yourself that the evidence that you've been believing this whole time is false. If you're afraid to public speak, you got to face your fear. You got to get right in front of the fear and punch it right in the face. And you can show yourself, oh, this isn't even that bad. This whole time I've been telling myself a lie that this was a lot harder and a lot worse than it really is. If you're afraid to approach women, go do it. Face fear right in the face. Face fear, okay? Look it right in the eyes and make it your bitch. Don't think that you're going to get rid of fear, okay? Until you've shown yourself enough that you are the man who can handle whatever it is you're afraid of, then you're still going to feel that emotion because you haven't given yourself new evidence. You've been believing this old evidence for quite a while, but guess what? The moment you start showing yourself otherwise, you let go of that.
Because no one knows, and by the very nature of the laws of the universe, no one can prove definitely what happens after death. This uncertainty frightens people out of their wits. People who give over their minds to fear, any sort of fear, neglect to use their minds and begin to drift. Eventually they drift into the whirlpool of hypnotic rhythm, from which they may never escape.
Then you do not mind what religious leaders think or say of you when they speak of death?
Not as long as they say something. If the churches should stop talking about me, my cause would receive a severe setback. Every attack made against me fixes the fear of me in the minds of all who are influenced by it. You see, opposition is the thing that keeps some people from drifting, providing they do not yield to it.
Since you claim the churches help instead of hindering your cause, tell me what would give you cause to worry.
My only worry is that someday a real thinker may appear on Earth.
What would happen if a thinker did appear?
Optimal man. He has appeared, okay? I know Napoleon Hill wrote this book back in the day, but guess what? He's here.
You ask me what would happen. I'll tell you what would happen. People would learn the greatest of all truths, that the time they spend in fearing something would, if reversed, give them all they want in the material world and save them from me after death. Isn't that worth thinking about?
What do I tell you guys? He was talking about me in this book. He was talking about me, the messenger. I'm telling you guys, everything that you're afraid of is literally everything that you ever wanted. Because if you're afraid to start that business, on the other side of that fear is a version of you that you've never seen before. On the other side of that fear is a version of you that is truly fulfilled and wakes up every day invigorated with life. But you let fear hold you back. If you want to be a public speaker, on the other side of that fear, you might be the best public speaker in the world. Why do you see people do it? Why do you consume content all day seeing people be public speakers and you believe that you can't do it? Those people are no better than you. So you're letting fear hold you back. And what you need to understand is on the other side of that fear, you could literally be the best motivational speaker of all time. Those people that you see on top, you could be better than them. but you let fear hold you back. You see all these beautiful women, but you settle for porn. You settle for beating your meat because you're afraid to go talk to a woman. On the other side of that fear, you might just find out. You might just see, oh shit, women like me. Women find me attractive. Women think I'm sexy. Oh, this whole time I've been afraid. See, on the other side of fear is everything that you've ever wanted.
What is keeping such a thinker from appearing in the world?
Fear of criticism. It may interest you to know that the fear of criticism is the only effective weapon I have with which to whip you. If you were not afraid to publish this confession after you wring it from me, I would lose my earthly...
And this is something that I had to work with, right? Because at a certain point, I had to study myself. And at a certain point, fear of criticism was something that was lingering in my mind, right? It was always lingering in my mind when I was younger. I would always think about, what if I do something and they say something about it? And now that I've transcended that, and now that I don't live in that low level emotion anymore, I see when people do this, and it really just pisses me off because I know the answer, but people are simply just in their own way, right? Because what is fear of criticism? Why did I, at some point in my life, had a lingering thought in my mind of, oh, I don't want to post YouTube videos or this and that because what if I sound a certain way? Or let me not post this because what if they look at me a certain way, right? All of this stems from you wanting to be validated by others. So when you're trying to be validated by others, you're forgetting the most important person whose validation you need the most. It's yourself. Once you can start to validate yourself, guess what? The fear of criticism, it dissolves. Gone. Why? Because fear of criticism is fear of not being accepted in the group, right? The fear of there's a group of people, even if it's on social media, a group of people, and you're not going to be accepted. They're all going to be talking about you. They're all going to say, look at that guy over there, ha, 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 ha. But what you need to understand is once you validate yourself, it doesn't matter what anyone says. If you think it's dope, if you think it's cool, if you believe in what you're saying, then fuck what they think. Straight up. And I post my thoughts on here every single day with no filter. And if you don't like it, you could fuck off. I don't care. Because I'm not afraid of criticism. Because I criticize myself. If it's constructive criticism, I'm all for it. But fear of criticism, I don't have it anymore. So learn to validate yourself like I did with myself. I learned to validate myself through my daily actions and everything that I've done to become the man that I am today. See, I've been through a lot of transformations. I've been on both sides of life when it comes to a lot of things. So I've shown myself the type of man that I am, and I respect myself. That's why I get on here and I make these videos, because I want you guys to feel this feeling as well. This is the best feeling any man could have, is to respect the man that he sees in the mirror, to not need validation, to be free from the validation. You see, when you're attached to the validation of others, that's when you go broke. That's when you do all this lame ass shit, trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to look cooler than you are, trying to look richer than you are, when in reality, behind the scenes, you're broke. You don't really live the way you portray. Because what is it? What is that? That is the fear of showing your authentic self, who you really are, reality as it is. Because if you show that side of you, people aren't going to like you. So what you do in order to gain the validation of others, because you don't have your own validation, because you wouldn't do shit like this if you had your own validation. But because you need the validation of others so bad, you're willing to create this persona, this lifestyle, this false reality to be liked by others so that you can be something in the eyes of others because you're nothing in your own eyes. You want to be something in the eyes of others because you are nothing in your own eyes. The moment you are something in your own eyes, you can be nothing in the eyes of others, and it doesn't bother you. It doesn't faze you. So figure that out, guys. Sit there and try to find that validation from yourself.
Kingdom.
And if I did surprise you and publish it, how long would it be until you lost your kingdom?
Just long enough for one generation of children to grow into understanding. You cannot take the adults from me. I have them too securely sewed up. But if you published this confession, it would be sufficient to keep me from gaining control of the yet unborn and those who have not yet reached the age of reason. You wouldn't dare publish what I have told you about the religious leaders. They would crucify you.
I thought the savage practice of crucifixion went out of style 2,000 years ago.
I don't mean crucifixion on a cross. I mean social and financial crucifixion. Your income would be shut off. You would become a social outcast. Religious leaders and their followers alike would treat you with scorn.
Suppose I should choose to throw in my lot with the select few who make a pretense of using their own minds rather than fear the masses who do not, the masses of whom you claim 98%.
If you have courage enough to do this, you will crimp my style.
Why do you lay claim to no scientist? Don't you like scientists?
Oh, yes. I like all people well enough, but true scientists are out of my reach.
Why?
Because they think for themselves and spend their time studying natural laws. They deal with cause and effect. They deal with facts wherever they find them.
And this is why I cannot work a job. I cannot work a job, right? Because this whole herd mentality that when you go into a job, because I've worked plenty of jobs. I've worked a lot of jobs. And this herd mentality that when you go into this place, the managers that are a bunch of lame motherfuckers, they all expect you to be just like the herd, just like the guys and the women who have been there for 80 fucking years, and they all do as you say. They're like a sheep because they all think the way they think. But me, being a free thinker, being someone who thinks for myself, I walk in there and I identify the bullshit. And I say, this shit is bullshit. I'm not doing that because I think for myself. So I can't work jobs like that because I'm looked at as the bad guy. I'm looked at as, someone who's not following instructions. But here's the thing. When I spot bullshit, I'm not going to go with what everyone else thinks because I'm a leader. So if I see something that's straight up bullshit, I'm not just going to close my mouth. I'm not just going to be like, yeah, I'm not even going to say anything because I don't want to be looked at I don't want to be looked at negatively in the eyes of these managers. I don't give a fuck. So I can't work a job. That's why I can't work a job right there.
But do not make the mistake of believing scientists have no religion. They have a very definite religion.
What is their religion?
The religion of truth. The religion of natural law. If the world ever produces an accurate thinker with ability to fathom the deeply buried secret of life and death, you can be sure that science will be responsible for the catastrophe.
Catastrophe to whom?
To me, of course.
Let's get back to the subject of hypnotic rhythm. I want to know more about it. Is it something like the principle through which people can hypnotize one another?
It is precisely the same thing. I have already told you so. Why do you repeat your questions?
That is an old worldly custom of mine, Your Majesty. For your enlightenment, I will tell you, I am forcing you to repeat many of your statements for the sake of emphasis. I'm also trying to see if I can catch you in a lie. Don't dodge the issue. Get back to hypnotic rhythm and tell me all you know about it. Am I a victim of it?
Not now, but you barely missed falling into my web. You drifted toward the whirlpool of hypnotic rhythm until you discovered how to force me into making this confession. Then I lost control of you.
How interesting. You are not trying to recapture me through flattery, are you?
That would be the best bribe I could offer you. It is the bribe I used on you effectively before you got the upper hand of me.
With what did you flatter me?
With many things. Chief among them sex and the desire for self-expression.
What effect did your bribes have on me?
They caused you to neglect your major purpose in life and started you to drifting.
Was that all you did to me through your bribes?
That was plenty.
But I am back on the track and out of your reach now, am I not?
Yes, you are temporarily out of my reach because you are not drifting.
What broke your spell over me and released me from the habit of drifting?
My answer may humiliate you. Do you want to hear it?
Go ahead and give it to me, Your Majesty. I wish to learn how much truth I can stand.
When you found a great love in the woman of your choice, I lost my grip on you.
So you are going to accuse me of hiding behind a woman's skirts, are you?
No, not hiding. I wouldn't put it that way. I would say you have learned how to give yourself a solid background with the embellishment of a woman's mind.
The woman's
A woman could be a great add-on to your life.
skirt has nothing to do with it then.
No, but her brain does. When you and your wife began to combine your two brains through your habit of masterminding every day, you stumbled upon the secret power with which you forced.
Masterminding. I wonder what the definition of mastermind is. Let's look that up really quick. 1 second. Mastermind. Okay. A person. Yo, shut the fuck up. Okay, let's see. So, mastermind, to act as the leader of some complex plan or scheme. Someone who has exceptional ability. Someone who plans. To plan and direct, especially skillfully. You see, this is why I don't believe in just wasting time with people who want to talk about bullshit. I believe in only speaking to people who have ideas, right? Because as this book is saying, mastermind. It talks about mastermind a lot. What is a mastermind? When two people come together discussing ideas, and you might think something that I don't think, and I might think something that you don't think. And together, bouncing off ideas, we grow off each other. But people will want to talk about bullshit. I personally have no interest in that. I only want to talk with people who have good ideas, something that has some substance, some value that will help me grow and likewise will help the other person grow.
I could flatter you if I had you alone, but I cannot flatter you while you have the use of your wife's mind.
I'm beginning to catch on to something important. I'm beginning to understand what was meant by the writer of that passage in the Bible, which says substantially, when two or more meet together and ask for anything in my name, it shall be granted. It is true, then, that two minds are better than one.
It is not only true, it is necessary before anyone can continuously contact the great storehouse of infinite intelligence, wherein is stored all that is, all that ever was, and all that can ever be.
Is there such a storehouse?
If there had not been, you would not, could not, now be humiliating me with this silly forced confession.
Isn't it dangerous to give this sort of information to the world?
Sure, it is dangerous to me. If I were you, I would not give it out.
Let us get back now to the technique through which you fasten on your victims the habit of drifting. What is the very first step a drifter must take to break the habit?
A burning desire to break it. You, of course, know that no one can be hypnotized by another person without his will.
Let's go ahead. This one, I can already tell it's about to be a banger. So let's go ahead and see what the question was really quick. Question. Let us get back now to the technique through which you fasten on your victims the habit of drifting. What is the very first step a drifter must take to break the habit?
The very first step a drifter must take to break the habit.
A burning desire to break it. And this is why, if your friend is a drifter, if your friend is someone who is okay being low level, is okay being stuck where they're at, there's nothing you're going to say to want to. You can try everything to inspire them, but there's nothing that you're going to say to someone who doesn't want to change their situation to get them to change? If your friend's on drugs, there's nothing you're going to say to get them to stop. At one point in my life, I was on drugs, and there's nothing anyone could have told me to stop. That had to be a burning desire that I had to develop within myself. Things that you go through in life that creates this burning desire in you. So understand that when you're trying to give out advice to people, when you're trying to help people in your life, you can only do but so much. You know the saying, you can only bring a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. They have to have a burning desire. You, of course, know that no one can be hypnotized by another person without his willingness to be hypnotized. Exactly. You control your mind, whether you understand that or whether you don't. Neither can nature place one under the spell of hypnotic rhythm without his willingness to be hypnotized. The willingness may assume the form of indifference towards life generally. Lack of ambition, fear, lack of definite purpose. Wait, hold on. Let me reread that one more time. Give me a second. So neither can nature place one under the spell of hypnotic rhythm without his willingness to be hypnotized. The willingness may assume the form of indifference. The willingness to be hypnotized. So basically what he's saying is that if someone is a drifter, right? If life is hypnotizing them to be a loser in a way, or basically they're hypnotizing themselves because they're allowing it, this is shown through indifference, through lack of ambition. So that's when someone just doesn't want to change. They don't care about their situation. Afraid of everything, afraid to speak, afraid to make a YouTube video, afraid to start a business. Lack of definiteness. This means that you don't have definiteness of purpose. Okay, so basically when you don't have a definiteness of purpose, you're basically drifting. That's the best word, honestly. And it's not even because this book it calls it drifting, but because that's what you're doing. You're just drifting. Life is just taking you wherever it wants to take you, and you don't do anything about it. Why? Because you're not intentional with your moves. I don't get on here without a definiteness of purpose. I get on here every day with the intention of helping guys through their problems, helping someone out there who at one point I struggle with the same problem, and then giving it to those people. So that's definiteness of purpose. And many other forms. Nature does not need one's consent in order to place him under the spell of hypnotic rhythm. It needs only to find him off guard through any form of neglect to use his own mind. Meaning if you're not thinking for yourself, you're neglecting using your own mind. Remember this. Whatever you have, you use it or lose it. Exactly.
Burning desire to break it. You, of course, know that no one can be hypnotized by another person without his willingness to be hypnotized. Neither can nature place one under the spell of hypnotic rhythm without his willingness to be hypnotized. The willingness may assume the form of indifference toward life generally, lack of ambition, fear, lack of definiteness of purpose, and many other forms. Nature does not need one's consent in order to place him under the spell of hypnotic rhythm. It needs only to find him off guard through any form of neglect to use his own mind. Remember this. Whatever you have, you use it or you lose it. All successful attempts to break the habit of drifting must be done before nature makes the habit permanent through hypnotic rhythm.
As I understand you, hypnotic rhythm is a natural law through which nature fixes the vibration of all environments. Is that true?
Yes. Nature uses hypnotic rhythm to make one's dominating thoughts and one's thought habits permanent. That is why poverty is a disease. Nature makes it so by fixing permanently the thought habits of all who accept poverty as an unavoidable circumstance. Through this same law of hypnotic rhythm, nature will also fix permanently positive thoughts of opulence and prosperity. Perhaps you will better understand the working principle of hypnotic rhythm if I tell you its nature is to fix permanently all habits, whether they are mental or physical. If your mind fears poverty, your mind will attract poverty. If your mind demands opulence and expects it, your mind will attract the physical and financial equivalents of opulence. This is in accordance with an immutable law of nature.
Did the writer of that sentence in the Bible, "Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap," have in mind this law of nature?
He could have nothing else in mind. The statement is true. You can see evidence of its truth in all human relationships.
And that is why the man who forms the habit of drifting through life must accept whatever life hands him. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Exactly. You must accept whatever life hands you if you're not intentional. The woman that you're dating, whatever life hands you. If he hands you a fat bitch, then that's what you got to get. Because you're not intentional. You're not creating the man who is going to attract a woman that you want. It's whatever life gives you. You don't really have much choice. So whatever job opportunity, that's what you'll take. Because you don't have no definiteness of purpose. Whatever house you live in, that's it. Whatever. Okay, sure. This is what life gave me. You have no intention. You have no direction behind your moves.
Correct. Life pays the drifter its own price on its own terms. The non-drifter makes life pay on his own terms.
Doesn't the question...
Exactly. The non-drifter, meaning someone who thinks for themselves, someone who's ambitious, someone who has desire to want to improve, we make life pay us what it is that we want, right? The house that we want, the woman that we want, the car that we want, everything. Everything might take time, right? In order to get everything that you want exactly how you want it, it's going to take time. It's going to take hard work every single day, day in and day out. But if you can see it in your mind, you can achieve it. If you can see a picture of exactly what it is you want out of life, and you can definitely say, this is exactly what I want, then you can work towards it and you can attain it and not be a drifter.
of morals enter into what one gets from life.
To be sure, but only for the reason that one's morals have an influence on one's thoughts. No one can collect what he wants from life merely by being good, if that is what you want to know.
No, I guess not. I see what you mean. We are all where we are and what we are because of our own deeds.
No, not exactly. You are where you are and what you are because of your thoughts and your deeds.
Then there is no such reality as luck, is there?
Emphatically no. Circumstances which people do not understand are classified under the heading of luck. Back of every reality is a cause. Often the cause is so far removed from the effect that the circumstance can be explained only by attributing it to the operation of luck. Nature knows no such law as luck. It is a man-made hypothesis with which he explains away things he does not understand. The terms luck and miracle are twin sisters. Neither of them has any real existence except in the imaginations of people. Both are used to explain that which people do not understand. Remember this: everything having a real existence is capable of proof. Keep this one truth in mind, and you will become a sounder thinker.
Which is more important, one's thoughts?
I'm looking at myself in the chat and in the video that I'm watching myself live streaming, and damn, I look tired as hell. I look like I'm about to fall asleep. I'm like this. Bro, I've been working hard, hella hard. So wake up early, work hard all day. So if I fall asleep on this live stream, hey, don't make fun of me, okay?
Or one's deeds?
All deeds follow thoughts. There can be no deeds without their having first been patterned in thought. Moreover, all thoughts have a tendency to clothe themselves in their physical counterpart. One's dominating thoughts, that is, the thoughts one mixes with the emotions, desire, hope, faith, fear, hate, greed, enthusiasm.
What is your dominating thought, whether it's good or bad? What did he say? You mix it with emotions. So some of you guys, your dominating thought is the fact that you're going to fail. And you tie it in with the emotion of fear, of anxiety, of doubt. You tie it in with these emotions. See, when you're someone who has dominating thoughts of living a grandiose life, living a life that you love, a life that you made, that you built, guess what? You pair that with the emotions of faith, of trust, of hope. You pair it with emotions that are going to help you actually have that motivation inside of you. Because motivation is not just logical. Motivation has some sort of emotional aspect to it. It's logical and emotional.
Not only have a tendency to clothe themselves in their physical equivalent, but they are bound to do so.
That reminds me to ask you to tell me more about yourself. Where, in addition to the minds of people, do you dwell and operate?
I operate wherever there is something I can control and appropriate. I have already told you I am the negative portion.
All right, that's the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and post it for you guys. Like the video, comment down below, and subscribe. If you want to see more of these, let me know down below, and I'll continue making this series.